Hey guys, let's get more news about Dallas, but first, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like. 3 free agents the Cowboys could consider before the draft. The NFL draft is just over a month away, but the job is not finished for the Dallas Cowboys. The roster still needs more. It's commendable that Dallas has been more active than usual during the early stages of free agency, albeit not for anyone at the top of the free market. Oh well, can't have it all. The good thing is that Dallas addressed their running back position with 2 unspectacular but adequate signings, Miles Sanders and Javonte Williams. The former, Sanders, hinted at perhaps a new identity for the Cowboys' offense, focusing on running the football. It's a good start for now, but the Cowboys must further supplement the roster to head into the draft with open options. Free agency does have a few players Dallas could sign to fortify their roster ahead of the draft. Shaq Mason. One thing primarily lacking from the Cowboys' offensive line is experience. Terrence Steele, an undrafted rookie in 2020, is the most experienced projected starter along the offensive line. Zach Martin's retirement leaves a lot of experience lacking from the unit, and depth is also a concern. Shaq Mason is a 2-time Super Bowl champion who was released by cross-state rival Houston earlier this offseason. Over his 10-year career, Mason has started 147 games. However, Mason isn't what he used to be and has slightly declined in his performance in the last few seasons. What Mason could be is an insurance policy for the Cowboys. He could compete for a starting job with incumbent Brock Hoffman, but he also shouldn't be so expensive that Dallas can't add another interior with a day 2 pick if they choose. Amari Cooper. Earlier this offseason, there was speculation that Dallas could be interested in former wide receiver Michael Gallup, who came out of retirement and then signed with the Washington Commanders. How about reuniting with another former receiver? Amari Cooper coming back to Dallas would make sense. While Cooper is coming off the worst season of his career, we know his abilities fit well with quarterback Dak Prescott. Cooper went to the Pro Bowl twice with Prescott. If he returns to Dallas, he wouldn't be counted on as a top option, and would be working in support of CeeDee Lamb as Lamb did for Cooper in his first 2 seasons in the NFL. Cooper has the ability to play in different spots as a wide receiver and would give the offense more unpredictability with their formations. Cooper still has enough gas in the tank to stretch the field. His market has been ice cold as of late. Therefore, it shouldn't cost much to bring him back to Dallas. Teddy Bridgewater. With the departure of Cooper rushed to the Baltimore Ravens, the Cowboys need to sign a backup quarterback. Jameis Winston is off the market as he signed with the New York Giants. However, another former first-round quarterback is available. Dallas landing Teddy Bridgewater would be a sensible signing. Cowboys can nix potential target from draft board after pro day disaster. The Dallas Cowboys had obvious positions of need going into the offseason. As we approach the 3rd week of free agency, they have addressed most of those positions, albeit hardly in emphatic fashion. The positions that have been ignored? That would be wide receiver and backup quarterback. The team had reported interest in Cooper Kupp before he got $15 million per year from the Seahawks. While CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott tried recruiting Kupp, it became apparent early on in his free agency that he wanted more money than Dallas was comfortable paying. It seems increasingly likely the Cowboys will revisit WR in the draft. Arizona's Tataroa McMillan, Missouri's Luther Burden and Ohio State's Emeka Egbuka are potential first-round targets. While not a deep class at the position, they could pivot to day 2 or 3 if they're unable to land a receiver in round 1. Oregon's Tez Johnson and Miami's Xavier Restrepo are 2 prospects who could be in play for Dallas in that range. While Johnson is seemingly on the team's radar, Restrepo might be erased from their draft board altogether after his nightmarish pro day. Those in attendance at Miami's pro day clocked Restrepo's 40-yard dash between 4.76 and 4.83 seconds. While not official numbers, those times are alarmingly slow for a receiver, even one like Restrepo who figures to spend most of his time in the slot as a pro. According to Ryan Roberts of Atos Sports, not a single receiver since 1999 that ran over 4.75 seconds in the 40-yard dash has posted a 1,000-yard season in the NFL. Restrepo's 40 time alone may have tanked his draft stock, but it only got worse for the former Hurricane. He then posted a 4.21 20-yard shuttle, which doesn't even rank in the 60th percentile for receivers. He badly needed a fast shuttle time after his 40-yard sprint. Restrepo's pro day gives him an unofficial 2.90 relative athletic score, which ranks 2,492 out of 3,506 receivers that have tested since 1987. For the Cowboys to draft Restrepo, they have to erase virtually every physical benchmark. The physical limitations did not prevent Restrepo from producing at Miami. He notched 1,000 receiving yards in each of the last 2 seasons, including leading the ACC with 1,127 yards and 11 touchdowns in 2024. He's consistent with strong hands and has a high football IQ. Those are important boxes to check. The problem is projecting whether Restrepo's intangibles will translate to NFL production in spite of his physical drawbacks. All it takes is one team, but Dallas receiver room needs an explosive playmaker in the worst way. They need to draft someone who strikes fear into opposing defenses. Restrepo does not fill that bill despite a great final 2 seasons at Miami. Cowboys trade of Dak Prescott rumor destroyed by insider for 3 reasons. The Dallas Cowboys and quarterback Dak Prescott are committed to each other. For better or for worse. Having agreed to a record-breaking contract extension in September of 2024 while the involved parties were all in Cleveland, ironically, prepping for a Week 1 game at the Browns, Prescott is now entering 2025 with a 4-year deal worth $240 million. Which even these months later, at $60 million APY, makes the Pro Bowl QB the highest-paid player in NFL history. Dallas can get out of this deal after the 4 years, of course. And there is escapability, to a degree, after 2 years. Any breakup that would come before that would be crippling to Dallas on the roster maybe, but cap-wise, for certain. And therefore, a breakup is highly unlikely. That hasn't stopped the haters and the speculators from trying, though. The latest attempt at this is a comical one, coming out of Cleveland and starring a veteran sportscaster there named Bruce Drennan. It is Drennan's claim that the Cowboys and the Browns are, as you read this, working on a top-secret trade that would send Prescott to Cleveland. Drennan, via his YouTube channel, first says he has a reliable source in the Browns organization who is telling him this. He later claims that his has multiple sources from inside the Cleveland franchise and that he has details, and that the Browns would ship cornerback Greg Newsome to and some sort of draft compensation to Dallas in exchange for Prescott. Social media has been sent into a frenzy, especially among fans who are understandably confused by the cap and contract-related minutiae that would preclude such a deal. To wit, our Cowboys insider Mike Fisher points out the 3 gigantic obstacles to this goofy fantasy. From Fish, first, a Prescott trade would create a dead money problem totaling $148 million. Second, the Browns' present effective cap space is $10 million. So they couldn't do it. And third, Dak has a no-trade clause and no reason to waive it so he can uproot his family and move to Cleveland. We might also note that Cleveland already has $172 million of dead money locked up in Deshaun Watson, so there's not much bend there, either. We're aware that old friend Dez Bryant and others have triggered speculation that Shedeur Sanders might somehow be drafted by Dallas. And we will politely characterize that as a fun idea, but the bogus sources claim? That's not fun, it's rather gross, really. Though Fish adds one more take. I'm working on the assumption, Fish says, that this is some sort of a comedy bit from the Cleveland Laugh Factory or something. And you fan? What do you think about Dak Prescott's situation? Write to us in the comments.